Bonk. There we go. Checking audio. Yep. BGM. Yep. Desktop audio's off. Good. All right. Let's see. I'm very bad at keeping track of time. I actually had not just April, it's April right now, but also May. And then this actual submission is June, is like June-ish. Let me look over here. Alright. So the whole thing I was planning to do today was write out the script for the actual contest because I thought I was running out of time. But you know when I'm actually supposed to submit all this? I have a month left. Which is good. No. Actually, to be clear, it's very, very, very good. I have a whole month left. Because my life is very... It's going to be so busy for the next 5 months. It is very, very, very busy for the next 5 months. I don't have weekends. I have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, or at least, well, might be Wednesdays and Thursdays instead, depending on how my coworker and I want to stagger out our breaks. But because of real world complications, or the stuff I'm actually getting paid for to buy food and streaming subs and games and everything else, yeah. But that's alright. That just means I have to use my scarce bits of free time as wisely as possible, so that during my 50+ hour work weeks, I'm able to at least keep some semblance of sanity. You know, life is just a little bit hard right now. It's not unbearable. It's not as if I'm depressed or anything, but it's a lot of work. But that's fine. Plus, I do want to work on scripting, how just to get it set aside and to like finish it out ASAP. Because this is the submission list that I have to get ready. A single page sell sheet, or basically the elevator pitch. And a 2-minute pitch video about the game, which is no longer than 2 minutes. And a game image, which I think I might talk to my VTuber mom about commissioning something for this, just because it shouldn't be very hard. Maybe. We'll see. I like working with her because it's easy, plus we've had previous working experience before. I might also just skim a thing, but my experience with skim has been a little touch and go. I made my first request about a week ago, and I still haven't heard. It's still on pending. It's not approved yet, so that's the thing. It's been more than 7 days now. I'm still waiting for like the artist I commissioned to say, yeah, I will do this, or at least like give me a rejection, right? So I can just say, okay, well that didn't work out. They didn't want to do that thing. I'll go find somebody else, which is perfectly alright. I just let me give you money, dude. I can't give you money if you don't approve it. Anyhow, also a short description of the game, maximum 500 characters. Your description will be searchable by by judges, so include helpful keywords. Okay, so that's an SEO thing. I can do some SEO optimization for game stuff. Your game's complexity level, based on what I've played before. Ooh, that's a good question, actually. Should I consider this a medium or heavy level game? Because having written it, with all the systems in my own head, it doesn't seem all that heavy, right? But bullshit. I have definitely played high complexity games before where the systems like are intuitively linked well together, but the actual like spread of options you have can get overwhelming. Like, the execution isn't hard, but it leaves you with a lot of choice paralysis. Let me give you an example of this. What was the game? Heaviest weighted game BPG. Highest weight complexity games. Here we are. Okay. a lot of these are war games. I don't like those kind of war games too much. They don't really feel like games. They feel like simulators. Browse, geek list, hot. What are the top rated board games? What is the initiative? That's a new one. If you're in the board game community whatsoever, you're looking at BoardGameGeek.com for a lot of the community stuff. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Ugh. Wow, that sucked. Let me see. What else was I talking about? Right. BoardGameGeek.com is pretty much the linchpin of the tabletop gaming community these days. For good reason. They have a very, very well established list. Well, they have pretty much all the functions you would want to see from a community site in the first place, including like lists of games, what the general opinion are for games amongst reviewers and stuff. But what was the game I was looking for to discuss, like, weight of games? Eh? Huh? Okay, you know what? That's alright. Even without the specific game I'm looking for, I can tell you it's a restaurant simulator game, right? Where you have to hire up the staff, starting from like free interns all the way to like professional cooks stuff, to try to take control of a neighborhood, and this is played competitively. So you have rival franchises trying to take over, right? And it's one of the top rated. It has one of the top rated weights on BGG, which is a measure of how complex the game is and how much complexity is a bit of a vague term, but how hard it is to play right, like how many options you're faced with, how much customization you have with your actions and stuff. And also, the game wasn't that hard to play. It wasn't that hard to pick up. A lot of it was highly intuitive. The complexity was in how they interlinked with, like how the mechanics that you had before you interlinked with each other. It was ultimately easy to learn, but because it was an area control style of game with a whole bunch of stuff that like could have drastic effects over your level of control over the game, I can definitely see why it's rated as highly as it is. It's just not that hard to pick up. But that would count for the purpose of this contest as a very heavy game. Whereas something like I don't know, Weiqi or Go, for instance, the classic like 10,000-year-old board game for China, would probably count as a medium level game, or even light. The depth of its complexity is more of an immersion factor out of its otherwise simple rules, right? But you could spend like an entire lifetime learning how to optimize your strategies in the game and still come off as a complete noob the first time you go against a professional. I have like two uncles rated like one or two dan, and I've only beaten them like legitimately once or twice. Anyhow, cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm not too interested in talking about the weight of the game right now. What I am interested in talking about is the script and the one-page sell sheet. the 2-minute pitch for the game. It'll be has to be a 2-minute video. Let's see, requisites. Well, first make sure I have the basic outline of what I need written down, so it's easy enough for me to keep track. Now, I've done this contest once before to only like minimal impact because frankly, I had like 2 weeks to put a game together and it wasn't very good. So I put a lot more thought into this one. But all that thought has to be condensed down to the 2-minute time frame, which I can tell you from experience is very little time at all. Like just randomly rambling about very little right now has already taken like 15 minutes worth of time. I think this covers it. What else do I need? Alright. So, very first thing, we need a decent name for a game. Calling it Project Isekai isn't going to sell. Names are hard. Like I'm trying to blank right now, a legitimate blank. I struggle with names on the best of things. It's honestly not one of my particularly good skills. Let me see. What I'm doing right now is just going through TV tropes and going through their isekai stuff to like get a decent idea of like conventions I might want to borrow from. I did not know, for instance, that back during C96, a whole bunch of isekai authors actually put together a Dojin short story anthology about the genre. It's pretty interesting. This actually has some big names. ReZero's author, Saga of Tanya the Evil. Fun little bit of sociopathy. I'm kind of surprised Isekai doesn't have its own, like... Well, Trapped in Another World, which is the overall trope name for it, covers pretty much everything. But Isekai specifically has a lot of, like, its own, like, almost... It'd be a pity to call it a subgenre, because it's pretty well developed compared to how the Western world treats the overall showing up in another world trope, like the Narnia trope, right? Narnia is definitely an isekai, by the way. Kind of surprised that there isn't a specified version of it. Huh. Oh, I haven't thought about Magic Knight Ray Earth in a while. Now, then, here and there. Alright. Names suck. I'll just set it aside for now. Actually, no, let's not. It's because it sucks I actually calculate right now. Set it aside. This is supposed to be a fairly standard JRPG setting. But I don't necessarily want to fall back on using, like, Japanese parody names, right? Should probably move a little farther away from the camera. It's starting to jitter. See, this is one of the problems with indie streaming. We don't have an audience yet. I can't bounce off ideas off anybody. And the sort of people I want to bounce off of, like close friends and stuff, are either busy working because it's in the middle of the work week, or are in Europe. What time is it in? Yeah. Yeah, they're probably going to bid right about now. God damn. It's a lot easier to be creative when you have multiple brains working in conjunction with each other. Especially on the parts of creativity that you happen to suck at, like names. Fucking hell. Yeah, I legitimately can't think of anything decent. Dun, dun, dun. Dude that does Monster Musume is actually fairly prolific, but he always uses the same characters and themes. That has to get boring. I've never heard some of these actually. I think part of why I am stuck right now is, oh boy, ProZD did the Croy review. I gotta watch that later. But yeah, and part of why I'm stuck right now is simply because I have only recently pulled myself out of a big creative rut, and not in the direction that I had intended to pull myself. With 3D prints, I am overjoyed to play with this 3D printer. In terms of writing, I haven't had really a long enough vacation to simply sit down, read interesting things, and indulge myself in wordplay. Which is the skill I need to make a good name. Wordplay in particular. That's my own bad. I've been slacking on my reading lately, just thinking I can focus on my writing. That's a mistake. If you are a writer of any sort of caliber, professional or otherwise, your number one job isn't to write, it's to read. You're not going to be able to write anything good without a lot of practice, without a lot of exposure to good literature in the first place. And I have not been keeping up on my reading. Mostly because either my favorite authors are all dead or are in between books at the moment. Sag. Let me think. This is basically Netrunner with dungeon building. Cave Runner? No. Dungeon Runner? No. How much emphasis do I want to put on the fact that it uses dungeon tile placements? Let me see. Thesaurus Dungeon. So a bleed vault. A vault sort of implies a sequence like a singular room, right? Oblique. Oubliette. Cave. Grotto, hollow. Rock shelter, subterranean area, hollow. Man, I hate this part. I hate this part so much. And it matters too, because the name sets the overall like theme. Like the overall like aesthetic and flavor of it. Underworld, cavern, grotto, pothole's definitely not it. What's the definition of a grotto? An artificial cavern like recess or structure, a cave or caverns. Show me usage. Really? Grotto was a spin-off of the vulgar Latin crypta, which is crypt or subterranean passage or chamber. How do you go from crypt to grotto? 1600s were a weird time for words. Grotto, the grotto-like. Grotesque. Dungeon crawling. Active explorer, dangerous area while looking for treasure of the plot coupon MacGuffin. Character must battle enemies, usually monsters. Use skills equipping to negotiate obstacles, usually traps. What separates the dungeon from a literal ruin? What does the sudden influx of apple dungeon lead you to nearby towns? Where do the monsters come from? How do they survive there? Well, basically, I just basically reading the TV tropes description for Delicious in Dungeon or Dungeon Meshi, which is a really good series, by the way. Just a lot of fun. Ruin Walker, Ruin Runner. Let's see. Underworld, ruins. I like the feel of the word ruins. I think we'll work off of that. Alright. Walker. What I'm doing right now is just opening a spigot in my subconscious and letting anything that comes up just drip down on the page. And maybe I'll find something that resonates properly. Let's blow windows again. Sorry about that. Definitely did not want to hear you, for you to hear my loud ass trumpeting. Okay. The Mines of Moria. No. The whole purpose of the game is that both sides are trying to save something. Even the big bad of the game. What looks like corruption from one side may be an attempt to save their homeland by another, right? Like it's resource conflict that drives them together. How do I reflect that? Seek salvation. Salvation seems a little Judeo-Christian though. Save the land, save the world. What? How does TV Trolls have to qualify? Save the world. Looking over Drakengard, Mass Effect. I get a lot of Slack messages. It's my day off. Why am I getting Slack messages? I kind of like the mouthfeel of the word omnicide, but it's a little too edgy. I mean, the game is edgy. The fundamental premise is kind of on the edgy side. Hmm. I'm not finding a lot of terminology that leaves me happy with the name. It's been like 40 fucking minutes too. Oh, Vienna did a whole, let me see, where was this posted? Yeah. See, that's Vienna did a whole model review. Nice. This is the boring part of creation. The stuff that you're not having. The stuff that doesn't feel great to make. That doesn't feel like it plays to your strengths. But you have to do it anyhow. Endings, beginnings, save the world. On the side of maniacs. Save the world climax. That's a good quote from Damon Lindelof. Once you spend more than 100 million on a movie, you have to save the world. Realm Walker. I don't like this Walker motif I've been stumbling upon. It doesn't sound right. This is hard. Names suck. They're so important and they suck. A good name is a good first impression. And I'm not very good at first impressions. I'm gonna push the camera back a little bit. This is tough. It's hard to be enthusiastic without anybody to talk to, honestly. So let's see what the streaming world's up to. Cute art. Omari players. Let's have a 2. Towering over buildings. Quite nice. Like, I kind of just want to work with my hands at the moment. Make stuff, not think. Thinking hard, not the caffeine. Also have a transcript I need to finish by tomorrow. An article that's coming out next week. Waiting on my editor for that. Oh, it's not good being me right now. My brain is not active. Bunch of IRL stuff waiting for me. Don't want to focus on that at the moment. They're also low priority. Huh. No right, only idea. The classic dog comic. It is true. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. Especially now that I've learned what the actual deadline is, it's hard to be enthusiastic about what I'm doing right now. I really wish I had viewers to bounce ideas off, but it's all understandable why I don't at the moment. I am waiting to hear back from a potential collab partner. That should be a lot of fun to do, and that'll hopefully improve the circumstances around here. I'm in this for a long haul anyhow. I want to do this sort of content for at least 6 months. Experiment, of course, along the way with collabs and stuff and other interview opportunities, but I need to wait at minimum 1 week for the payoff of my upcoming interview collab. Not collab, interview situation. And longer yet to hear back about the collab I'm currently setting up. It should be fun, but I have to wait. Waiting's not great. Runner, asymmetrical, challenge. Demon King, Isekai. Let me think. I shouldn't be afraid of long titles either, as long as it's eloquently expressed. Hero's Journey, Hero's Path, both suck as names because they discuss concepts that are pretty standardized and don't really work on the box. Let's go with that for now. Halls of Stone and Doubt. No. What's another good word, if not doubt? It took me over an hour to start getting somewhere. Lack of faith or conviction or questioning, ambiguity, confusion, disbelief, hesitation, mistrust, qualms, reluctance, skepticism, faltering, incertitude, incredulity, indecision, disquiet, dubiety or dubiousness. Uncertainty. Uncertain. Excuse me, tired. Depth of Divine is an interesting title to go with, but stresses a little too much on the villain side of things, or the DM side of things, I think. Hold on, something important coming up on Slack. Or it would be if Slack wasn't dying on me. Okay, here you are. Oh, we're just getting intro to one of the stakeholders. Okay, no problem. Not relevant to this. Brain still not working. Wow, I'm just not in the mood today. I really think you just like sit down and read some like Terry Pratchett again. Usually gets my mind working. Let's go with this for now. These Disquiet Halls has a nice tone to it. Something vaguely Lovecraftian about that. Dungeon card will one kind of martial art. The word force artifacts that grow and expand. These Disquiet Halls is an asymmetrical card game dungeon crawler where one player marshals otherworldly forces and artifacts to grow and expand their influence upon the world, while the other player is tasked with beating back their opponent's my line. What's not a good word for influence? Through the recruitment part of Heroes and Adventures. A few things should be taken as face value. As the struggle plays out, truths of the world and stands are exposed, and the consequences run as steep as the shadows of the dungeon. These Disquiet Halls is an asymmetrical card game dungeon crawler where one player marshals otherworldly. I tend to reread verbally a lot of what I write, just to make sure like the tonal quality of the words and the overall like underlying rhythm like still feels good to me. So far so good though. Where one player marshals otherworldly forces an artifacts to grow, expand, and influence upon the world, primarily through the construction of a liberating dungeon, while the other player is tasked with beating back their opponents by lending presence through the recruitment part of Heroes and Adventures. But few things should be taken at face value. As the struggle plays out, truth of the world and its denizens are exposed, and the consequences run as deep as the shadows of the dungeon. Player decisions dominate the game. Everything from the hero player's pool of purchasable equipment to the dungeon tiles and defending minions and traps on the DM side can be custom chosen by the respective players, as with most competitive card games. But when they don't have full control over it, it's a combined event stack made by shuffling their respective character expensive cards together, and of which ticks down inexorably with every turn, with activations that can flip around the very nature of the game and narrative flavor that add wrinkles and complexities to an otherwise seemingly straightforward RPG dungeon crawl. Take the form of debuffs to others. Simple buffs. Cards added to respective decks from outside the game. Even between the same two decks, no two consecutive stories will ever be told quite the same way. Alright, let's take my phone and time this initial script to see if this is where we want it to be. And also to see if I've got any messages earlier that I might have wanted to see. Okay, let me see. Let's see. I got a message earlier about 2 hours ago that I missed. It said, I'm on dinner duty tonight. That's alright. That's not what I'm looking for. Where's my timer? Okay, after I'm done, I'm gonna be stopping here because I gotta use the restroom. Timer, here we go. Start. Oh, wait, no. Pause. Cancel. Stopwatch, that's what I put. These Disquiet Halls is an asymmetrical card game and dungeon crawler, where one player marshals otherworldly forces and artifacts to grow and expand their influence upon the world, primarily through the construction of a labyrinthine dungeon, while the other player is tasked with beating back their opponents by light and presence through the recruitment and empowerment of heroes and adventurers. But few things should be taken at face value. As the struggle plays out, truths of the world and its denizens are exposed, and the consequences run as deep as the shadows of the dungeon. Player decision dominates the game, everything from the hero party's pool of purchasable equipment to the dungeon tiles and defending minions and traps on the DM side can be custom chosen by the respective players, as with most competitive card games. But what they don't have full control over is the combined event stack, made by shuffling their respective character-specific cards together, and which ticks down inexorably with every turn, with activations that can flip around the very nature of the game, and narrative flavor that adds wrinkles and complexities to an otherwise seemingly straightforward RPG dungeon crawl. This can take the form of simple buffs and debuffs to either side, or cards added to respective decks from outside the game, or changes to the very rules themselves with further modifications based on previously activated events. Even between the same two decks, no two consecutive stories will ever be told quite the same way. I can add probably another paragraph to that, based on my timing. If I read it slower, it brings me down to about 1 minute 30 seconds, which means I can add another paragraph for further explanations. But the goal is not to reach 2 minutes, the goal is to keep it under 2 minutes. So as this goes, this is honestly pretty satisfactory. So I'm going to save it here. Page script. That'll be done for today. Sorry, this was really tedious. If anybody watches this afterwards, I don't recommend it. This was really rough on my end. My brain was not cooperating with me. It's been 1 hour 22 minutes of just like stumbling around until something clicks in my head. But we finally got a script. At the end, the accountability process works. Just sitting down here and grumbling about how I have no ideas is a lot better than not doing anything about it and forgetting to follow through on the project. So far so good. Even if the stream wasn't successful, the purpose of the stream is fulfilled. So that'll be enough from me today. And that will be the last stream for this week, unfortunately. Unless I choose to do a guerrilla event, which I'm still thinking about. Maybe not. I may do a review of the Demon Slayer movie once I finish it tomorrow, but that'll be late at night. That's only if I feel like I have anything constructive to say about it. But I will be watching tomorrow, which is good, after work. For now, however, thank you for following along, if anybody is watching this in the future. Apologies for basically just spending a lot of time grumbling and being, like, cranky about this today. But we have an initial script. It's readable. It has a decent flavor and tone and world building out of it. And hopefully it will be impressive enough for the judges to push me through on round 2. Well, we'll see about that in a couple months. No hurry whatsoever. Next week, expect more gaming streams because I just need to defrag this brain. And yeah, that'll be all for now. Thank you for watching, and always stay hungry, my friends.